Portray. It's the media identity tag. The idea here is that you are what you consume intellectually. So, first question, through what media do you produce and consume content? I consume content through books, newspaper articles, although most of those are online. I listen to a lot of National Public Radio, YouTube, Tumblr, Facebook. How did you learn to use those media? Well, it's important to understand that most of the media that I consume, aside from books, did not exist when I was in school. Even when I was in college, they didn't exist. And a lot of them didn't exist when I was in graduate school even. The computer existed and the internet existed, but it wasn't anything like the internet we have now. There's no other way for a person of my age to have learned this. Well, that's not true. You can take a class at the library, but it just touches on the very surface of things. The only way to really learn how to use these media is to dive in and manipulate it and play with it. There's always something around the corner of the internet that I don't quite get yet. I think I have really bad allergies. How important are those media to you, and how have they changed your life? They are very, very, very important to me, and they've changed my life immensely. I spend most of my time involved in these media that didn't even exist when I was in my 20s. And that's just crazy. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when I'm 60? When I'm Mikola's age, what crazy thing am I going to have to learn how to use in order to talk to the kids? It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It'll be exciting. It's probably not going to be YouTube. How do you portray yourself through these media, socially, politically, artistically, or otherwise? I am pretty goofy if you know me in real life, and I'm really goofy on the internet. From the internet, you can't see my sink full of dirty dishes. I tend to edit out a lot of ums. When I say something specifically just really stupid, I am inclined to delete it, but you can go back and look at my old videos and find things that I've said that I completely disagree with now. They're still there. I'm a growing, changing, often wrong, very opinionated individual, and capable of laughing at myself, and I portray myself in all of those ways. I'm really, really goofy in real life, and I'm really, really goofy on the internet. What responsibilities do you have as a producer and consumer of media? As a producer of media, I have a responsibility to myself to not put effort into things that I don't find fulfilling. I owe it to myself to not make this more work than it has to be. But I owe it to my audience to try and make something that's halfway entertaining, to try and make something that's fun to watch or listen to. Sometimes I struggle with that here because I'm talking at the camera. All of us smaller channels think to ourselves, well, there's no point making a video if I'm, not into it. And that's true to some extent, but we all want an audience. We all want somebody to watch this. And so I owe it to you to try and say interesting things in an interesting way. And sometimes I do that by wearing funny hats, and sometimes I do that through animation. I'm still, even after all this time, trying to figure out how to do that. Also, I think it's important to remember on YouTube, just like on Facebook and all of these other media, we are the commodity. Our eyeballs count for something. So what we watch is actually paying who we watch. Not in this case, not in Two Awesome Women. We're not making any money doing this, but when you watch John Green, when you watch any of the big name YouTubers, your view counts as money toward that content creator. And so, that being the case, really horrible people who do really awful things deserve for us to not watch them. Alex Day deserves for us to not watch him. All of the men involved in the recent YouTube scandals deserve for us to not watch them. And I don't think that in the history of media it has ever been so true that if an author, an artist, or creator is a terrible person whose ideology you vehemently disagree with, who has done things that you feel are morally objectionable, you really owe it to yourself and to the world to not watch their stuff. I feel like as consumers, that is our responsibility in this day and age when our eyeballs count as money in the pocket of the creator. We owe it to ourselves and to the world to not be eyeballs for those creators. I seriously feel like this is an important thing to keep in mind. And that's the media identity tag. My name is Marilyn. This is Two Awesome Women. And I think you're awesome. Bye-bye.